Greetings and welcome back to our North American Hub coverage of TI4. We're in the European qualifiers now, and things are beginning to take shape a little bit. We'll be joined, of course, by our two casters for our next game. That'll be Synderen and Sunsfan. Fear right next to me. We just finished up a couple of games as well. Looking ahead to our next game, it's going to be Coast taking on. Who are they taking on actually?
It is
Virtus.Pro. Virtus.Pro. There we go. Should have had that written down somewhere. Coast taking on Virtus.Pro, and from what I understand, Coast looked really sharp in their last outing.
They just ran over MWM completely.
Right.
I guess that's the best way of putting it. I think the game was like 26-3, and they got some really good picks too. So going into this tournament, we kind of knew that Coast are pretty good at the version right now. They understand the game really well, and we'll see if it's going to be enough against Virtus.Pro. Based on their last performance, and Virtus.Pro were a little shaky against Relax from what I understood. So I think it's fair to say Coast are maybe
Wait,
the
did
favorites.
Virtus.Pro play Relax?
I think that was the...
They did, and they looked shaky?
I don't know how bad it was.
Okay. But for me, in particular, Coast Gaming is like, they have a lot to prove coming into this in particular, and they were kind of like dark horse going to this, and I feel like if they're able to beat Virtus.Pro in a comfortable fashion, I think they have a good shot at the top 4.
Yeah, definitely.
I think both the teams have a chance at the top 4. Kind of more on the outskirts, though, not like a guaranteed top 2 or 3 for sure. But yes, I think we're pretty deep into the band, so why don't we...
Yep. Take it away, guys.
Why don't we get back in there? I'll tell you what. So we got the bands coming out here. Sand King, Centaur, Darkseer for Team Coast as they're in the second phase at the moment. Along with the Bat Rider and Lycan.
Dire team back.
Talk. I'm talking right now.
Okay, we're checking some sound issues.
Sound testing. Horse. 1, 2. Treant. Tidehunter.
1, 2,
EO,
Treant.
Tiny. 1, 2, Treant. Absolutely. Well,
I like that.
We got some good team fight from Team Coast right now, and then the arguably one of the best duos in the game for Virtus.Pro. I mean, they're not wasting any time with that. They just right off the bat take it.
This is a pretty peculiar opening for Coast. You don't generally see 2 melee strength heroes picked as the first 2, but I think the logic is they want the Treant first pick against VP. Maybe it's because VP like to play it. Maybe they have a plan in mind. I think Coast, just from... I think we've been criticizing a lot of the other teams for in the previous qualifiers was that they seemed to pick Treant without having a plan in mind with it, really, but just thought it was a good hero overall. I think Coast is one of the teams that will use it the way we would like to see, which is aggressive early on, take control of lanes instead of just sitting back passively and gaining passive
we've said that a lot in the past few qualifiers,
but
and it's not always the case, but you could be right.
The tide is interesting, and I think there's a couple of reasons for this. They are Dire, so I think he's not as good in the offlane as he is on Radiant, obviously, but he's pretty good against Tiny and IO in his own right.
Yeah.
They can't really burst him down without him being able to get a Ravage off. He's a great counter to relocate ganks in general, because Ravage is just one of those abilities that's very easy to hit when you see them porting in. And Anchor Smash is great against Tiny.
Well, I was actually going to say I would have liked to see a Disruptor, but unfortunately
he gets
banned out in the last part of the second phase here for Virtus.Pro. They're scared of that. Well, I guess with Tidehunter being in the offlane, they still have a room for support here. Brewmaster's going to pick up for Virtus.Pro, so it's not just the Chinese and SCA that like Brew, it's EU as well nowadays. They have pretty good control, I would say, and they have a lot of... I don't know how to really explain. Obviously, they have a lot of global presence with EO Tiny, and then Brewmaster gets a little bit of mid-game presence in there as well, so they have... I think it's kind of safe. Honestly, they have good mid-game, and then late-game with Tiny and Ags is pretty ridiculous, obviously.
Brewmaster is arguably the best teamfight hero at creating space, because he stuns someone, he cyclones someone else, and you just get to... If you get to fight like that, he is perhaps one of the best setups for an IO Tiny mid-game. They just want to run around in the fights and clop people, and Brewmaster is going to let them do it. So I like this setup for Virtus.Pro so far. We're going to see a Shadow Demon picked by Coast. As far as that goes to counter Virtus.Pro, I'm not seeing it right now.
Well,
you can try to disrupt the guy who is getting hit by the Avalanche Toss combo, which is really great if you manage to pull it off. But against Brewmaster, you generally want to have stuns and or silences. Maybe the idea is that they want to have strong laning phase and just keep heroes alive during the Brew ult. That is a possibility.
Demonic Purge against 2 melees, never a bad
SD
thing,
Treant is a strong early game tri-lane duo.
I'm actually interested to see what they're going to put in that tri-lane for the third hero, because Mirana would have been my first choice, obviously, which I don't know if that's... I guess that's still a very common... I mean, we talked about this in the China SCA. They use it so weird is the best way to put it. They don't... Like, I know a lot of people hate the support Mirana, but if you set it up with a Shadow Demon, I don't really have an issue with that, but they still need that carry in that tri lane.
What do you
Honestly,
think-
they could put anything that has burst damage, and it'll be a good lane.
What do you think about Tidehunter in that tri lane? Since it's against a Tiny, arguably. We don't know if Virtus.Pro are going to go dual lane mid, but if they go safe lane with the Tiny, and if it's obvious from the draft, I think Tidehunter is a really great hero to have in the lane against Tiny. Shadow Demon and Treant have more than enough setup for him to get in close. His weakness in lane is that he's melee, but the minus armor and the slow from Gush allows Shadow Demon and Treant to deal a lot of damage. I think it's something they could keep in mind since they're against a melee carry.
I think they can do way better.
But there are probably better alternatives, but I'm just thinking in terms of flexibility in the draft, maybe the Tide doesn't want to be on safe lane. We're going to have a Magnus. This is going to be a scary Tiny if he gets farm.
Empower Tiny before Ags, you basically have a club already, so that's pretty scary.
And after Ags, you have 2 clubs.
What do they put? I guess offlane Magnus. They are Radiant, so it's not the worst thing in the world. And, I think it was Fog that was talking about how the buff to his skewer, you don't even need more than like 2 levels of that. So might be seeing an Empower pretty early in this game. They have. I like their lineup. They need. I feel like they need a jungler. They don't even need a third support or a second support to go with the EO Tiny, unless they actually want to go mid.
Oh wow!
They could always do that. You can see the Doom pickup for Team Coast, which this has been another one of those picks that's basically every game it's banned or picked, at least at some stage.
This is starting to remind me of the type of lineup that EG was running during Starladder, where they had like this incredibly tanky front line supported by Treant and maybe the Shadow Demon. I think EG was running heroes like Doom and Dragon Knight in the same lineup, and they would just face rush onto towers and take fights because they couldn't die. They have the setup for that, and Dragon Knight is still in the pool. And I know for a fact Team Coast love playing this early aggression on towers, and Dragon Knight is one of the heroes in their pool. I think that would be a great pickup here. It's a direct stun against Brewmasters to set up for the Doom to come in. He does fine in lane against Magnus because absolutely everyone does fine in lane against Magnus. And can transition into that mid-game phase where I think Team Coast need to take control, because in late game, they're playing against a Tiny IO with Empower. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Do people play range heroes anymore? Is that a thing these days? Like, not that I'm complaining, because obviously I'm a huge fan of strength and melee in general, but it's just weird to see 3 melee on both sides, and we're not even done with these drafts yet. Last band's coming in are going to be Luna and Rubik.
So they do play ranged heroes.
Apparently. Maybe they just ban all the range and pick all the melee. That's the new thing.
Oh, all the ranged heroes are gone, guys. We have to get a melee.
Well, the first thing I think of when I look at Team Coast lineup right now is Blink Dagger on...
Ooh.
I don't want to talk about that. The Blink Dagger
I do.
on 2 needs to be used as efficiently as possible against the Brewmaster to prevent him from popping his ult, which is obviously one of those things we talk about every game with Brew. His biggest fall off, if you will. Razor, though, last pick for... That's really good against 3 melee. I'll say that.
Who's the support on VP? Is it Brew, Mag, or Razor? Who's the second support?
10 seconds.
I'm gonna say it's Brew, and then they'll offlane Mag and put Razor mid or something like that. But this is really strange.
What do you think about Razor just more as support? Because
awful.
Okay, just think of theory here. He gets damage from his skill, right? Static Link,
and then he
buys a mech anyway. Like, he's a mech carrier. In general.
But how will he farm that as a support?
I feel like him over Brewmaster, though. Brewmaster, I can't imagine.
Brew does so much with just levels. Razor doesn't.
But you have to get levels. That's the thing.
Yes, but as support, you can still get levels. Maybe they play some sort of dual lane.
Either way, this is really greedy. Whatever this is.
Yeah, I guess we can conclude that no matter what, this is very greedy.
But Razor is, like I said, very good against melee.
Yeah, and
we'll see if that comes into
this
effect.
might make Team Coast. Nope, they didn't think twice.
More
about
melee.
It. So I was expecting the Dragon Knight based on their lineup, but I think the reason they were hesitating a little bit is that Razor completely crushes this guy in lane if he gets a good start. It's all about the lane equilibrium and taking advantage of it. And if they're just playing one-on-one mid, it's so much down to the block, and it's down to Razor playing to his limits. If he plays very aggressively, he can dominate the Dragon Knight completely. But at the same time, if he does not manage to do that, Dragon Knight will start getting some decent levels. He'll get his bottle fast, and then he'll just breathe fire everything. But if Razor plays it well aggressively early on, Dragon Knight will pretty much only be getting CS with breathe fire. And while you get a bit, that's not really... It's not good enough for a mid-Dragon Knight.
I feel like that's still kind of the same against Brew. Dragon versus Brew. We just get Drunken Haze. Although we haven't been seeing people get Drunken Haze, much to your dismay. But that's still a possibility.
You'll still get a few. With Razor, if he plays aggressively against a melee hero, I won't say you get 0 last hits on your attack, but it's pretty damn close if you do it well enough.
Well, either way, I'm assuming we're still going to see a tiny Wisp mid, though.
Yeah, that's possible, and that's also
forgot about that.
But they don't really have good kill potential against Dragon Knight. Once he gets a couple of points up in Dragon Blood, he's decently tanky from level 1, and he will get his bottle. So, well, we'll see. As for VP, they are moving out on their lanes right now, so we're going to see what it comes down to here.
Destroying them trees.
IO will be played by JOTM. God will be playing as Tiny. Illidan on the Razor. NS will be playing as Brewmaster. And finally in the top lane is going to be Arsard on the Magnus. So it is a support Brew by NS, and this is actually something that I was a fan of quite a long time ago. We tried playing it with one of my teams in the past. We had mixed results, but if Brew gets off to a good start as a support, I think it can really work because he's all about the levels and pretty much only needs a Blink Dagger to be incredibly useful in the game.
And for Team Coast, otherwise known as Team Monomaniacs, which I will probably just call them that because it's so difficult to see CST into Coast. I don't know why, but Solon is going to be playing the Tidehunter. Steph Style playing the Treant Protector. Sorry, Mott on camera. I apologize for switching it up here. Ape Mother, that is an amazing name, by the way, on Doom. Frigolite playing the Shadow Demon. Last but not least, E-Skills on the mid Dragon Knight, which it does look as if it's going to be the Tiny Wisps, as we talked about. So, can they kill Dragon Knight with this duo? Like, at what point can they kill him? It's not as good as Razor, and that's a 1v1.
I think he will farm more in this lane than he would against the solo Razor. But the thing is, now IO and Tiny might also be getting more out of this lane than they would in the bottom lane, where it's actually a really interesting lane here coming out from Coast. They're putting Steph Style in here to maybe go for a first blood attempt where Solon might bait. And, yep, they will.
Oh boy, he has haste too. There goes the Gush along with Leech. See, this is going to be first blood right off the bat for Coast.
Melee hero's too good.
Yeah, well, Panda's going to get more XP than Razor at this point, so that's truly unfortunate. Well, I'm just questioning what that was all about. I was very obvious he had the haste rune activated for a long time before he died, but either way, I guess they weren't expecting the tree to be in that lane.
Yeah, that was a really nice first blood. And this is the type of play you want to see out of a Treant. You don't want to see him just stand back in the jungle and pull if you can get away with these kind of level 1 plays. Leech Seed might be the new Gale, if you will.
Okay.
Gale used to be renowned as the best first blood skill in the game because it's ridiculously strong slow, but since Gale doesn't have much damage anymore and Leech Seed does, it's a 4.5 second slow, deals a lot of damage and even heals you if there's a fight breaking out. Incredible level 1 skill, and Steph Style making use of it here. Classic. Dare we say this is a PPD play? Boots first, sure. Leech Seed from a weird angle, get easy first blood in the lane.
I like that. I like that.
Overall, the Coast strategy here seems really EG inspired, and well, so far so good for them.
Yeah,
they're getting decent farm on the lane.
This lane for Virtus.Pro is just so weird. I mean, let's say Razor steals a bunch of damage here. Right? Tidehunter just doesn't care. He's just going to anchor smash to his heart's content. We're going to see some pulling from Brewmaster. I'm worried about this lane. It's not just because of First Blood. I don't know. I have yet to see a Brewmaster support that is useful, I guess. I mean, he's still going to get.
Have you seen Brewmaster support before, even?
Maybe one time, but it's not memorable, for sure. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, Magnus at top. I'm glad we get to see Magnus. It's a hero that's kind of dropped off a lot, and he is getting in power pretty much right off the. He actually didn't get any in Skewer. Interesting. So not afraid of dying. I guess once he saw Tree in the bottom lane, he probably leveled up either in power or shockwave.
It's like these two teams are competing about who has the worst dual lane safe lane. Brewmaster Razor or Shadow Demon Doom. Like these two lanes are
hey, he's gonna get leveled
mid lane. Good damage onto E-Skills. Nice toss by God as well, but I still think E-Skills will stay alive through all this. Second toss is 3 seconds off, and they do give up. So he has 5 CS at 3 minutes, so they're definitely holding him down nicely. Tiny has 17.
Wow.
So looking very good for him.
Bottom lane, Illidan again on the chase. He's going to be using Static Link on the Treant, but that's not going to stop the Anchor Smash for Solon. He's not going to be able to get the last. There's the Thunderclap to follow NS and Illidan now on the run. Look at the damage from Illidan. So somehow they might actually get a kill in this lane, but there's the tree armor coming out, and Razor is not going to be in range for that last right click. So Solon will get away with his life unless he does something really ridiculous. So a good turnaround. I guess they have that potential, but that was them. That was Coast diving pretty deep.
Yeah, and if Razor does stay alive for a few seconds there, he starts dealing so much damage. And since, like we pointed out, he's playing against double melee, they'll be losing. One of them will be losing all his damage chasing him down. They don't really have the choice of just backing away and coming back in. E-Skills in mid. Gonna get tossed again, and this time he will not survive. Oh, he will!
Well,
Living armor, too good.
It's unfortunate they're not able to get the avalanche toss combo correctly. That would have been a for sure kill. I believe the toss came after the avalanche was already completed.
I think
Top
God
lane.
had the chance of tossing him back. Yeah, Arsar takes
Disruption, soul catcher,
This
and
kid-
then no combo after that
There is
because
no
because
kill
it's a
potential.
Doom. That's why there's no combo.
If Doom eats a Centaur, these guys together can
Yeah, that's
kill.
true.
But even then, he
what
will have
has-
to stomp, and
he
then
hasn't-
Skewer comes
He
after.
hasn't eaten anything.
No.
He's just been eating lane creeps,
Yeah,
I guess.
I guess it's because this camp is blocked. It's a nice ward that's been placed here from VP, and there's
Do you
no
think
sentries
it's-
on Shadow Demons.
Do you think it's worth the time investment to go eat something? Like just let Shadow Demon get a level or two?
I think Shadow
he
Demon
gets
needs to
kill
find a
potential?
good creep for him before he commits to going into the jungle. If you look at the jungle creeps right now for Doom, they're pretty much all terrible. Maybe apart from the Mana Burn one, which I guess could be decent against Magnus, but
Yeah, you don't see that too
it's
often.
pretty underwhelming.
Well, yeah,
right
the
now.
Satyr, unfortunately, the ability for Satyr costs so much mana, it's not really worth picking up. I mean, the aura is nice, I guess, for
But he doesn't
survivability,
need the
but-
regen at all
Right.
in this lane.
So he's going for right clicks. I guess that's the damage they want to go for, and
Mid lane.
probably the best choice.
Are we going to see an initiation here? No. God is aware. We'll just
That
toss a
toss.
creep onto another creep. Well, got the CS, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So, looking good for farm so far for Virtus.Pro. Tiny has a big advantage over the Doom. I'm actually surprised Doom doesn't have more farm. Sure, he's laning against a mag, but I guess it's the trade Coast has chosen to take by letting Frigolite constantly pull, and then Arsar just knows that he can farm freely here.
Yeah.
This time around, he might take some damage.
Well, not with many. He has the
Disruption.
Disruption, Soul Catcher, and right click. No crit, though. Unfortunate after eating the Alpha Wolf.
And bottom
Red.
lane.
Yeah, we
All
got
the
some
damage is
static
going to be
link
drained
action.
here from Illidan. Solon. NS, what are you doing? He's actually staying around. It's going to be his death.
Oh, Gush gets off. He's going to get up a mana pot.
Maybe not. He
Right
missed.
click's not there for Solon. He's going to attempt to run away NS, but he's going to find tree with the right click. Boom! Goes to the tree. And unfortunately, no evasion this time around for NS. But questionable positioning, I guess, is the best way to put it. Solon's going to get some of his damage stolen. Eh?
Yeah.
Huh?
Do you know how his nickname is pronounced?
No.
Soren.
Sol.
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 Soren. And it means the sun. It is a Danish nickname, and he is the Danish player on the team. So that makes sense.
Yes.
So 2-0 for Coast. They're very little ahead on Golden Experience, though, mainly because of the mid lane, where
Get
God
wrecked.
is having a really
Get
good
wrecked.
start, as we've talked about. Dragon Knight, 9 CS, 6 minutes. I guess it's to be
Dire's
expected that he
middle tower
loses,
is under
but this is...
attack.
Not that bad.
I thought he was going to get a bit more than this, so Virtus.Pro have been doing a good job in that mid lane. But at least he hasn't died.
Well, Wisp and Tiny are now hasted, or at least Wisp is, and of course the tether pretty much makes Tiny hasted for the most part. He's going to find some neutrals here. Not sure if they want to dive. They're just going to use Toss again to get some creeps. Are you expecting a Hannah Midas to come out for Gods here?
For
Or
gods.
for G? Whatever.
Looks like he's going for a drum. He has treads already, so treads into drum seems like the likely build for God, and then after that he'll probably go with the standard Ags. I don't actually know if it's a good idea for him to get the drum here, if he should just completely rush the Ags, since he has so good farm to begin with, and he's gonna be important with farm here. I think anything that amplifies his farm right now is the better choice, because they're gonna face a pretty hard mid game here, and I don't think drum is gonna make the difference. It's gonna be about whether he has
See
the Axe,
another
whether
one of
they can
these.
stall.
Yeah, we're going to see one of these drum games again. I think it's
But
a little bit more useful this
Yes,
game, though.
exactly. This makes a lot more sense. And of course, the games we're referring to are the Naga game from the China qualifier, where they got drum.
I
And
feel like it's more than just 2 games.
Yeah.
We saw that.
we saw some weird vanguards in
Yeah.
that qualifier as
Oh,
well.
God, don't make me vomit. Hopefully Illidan goes for that, and then we can talk about it some more. But
Oh, Vanguard Tiny.
or Vanguard Tiny would be great, too.
Vanguard Razor is pretty awful as well.
Tiny Wisp going to clean up these neutrals. And I am still interested to see how this Brewmaster is going to work out. I mean, he's so far away from a blink. Obviously, he's not farming this lane, so it's going to be even farther away. And it's not like a Sand King where you just put him in the jungle, get levels, get some gold. He's just useless. His Haze, I guess, is probably his most useful skill, unless you can get in range for a Thunderclap. But then again, like without farm, how are you going to get in position to get a good Thunderclap off?
Yeah, it isn't going to be too easy for NS here, and it makes me think that this is Virtus.Pro's backup plan, that they wanted a Sand King, but he was banned, so they're like, we can get Brew.
We'll get Brew instead.
or they
interchangeable.
Or they set up
Fortified.
for Brew offlane or mid in the beginning, and then they changed their mind during the
Yeah, I could
draft.
see that.
Bottom lane, Illidan, it's gonna get gushed. No Ravage available
TP's
with Dragon Knights there.
Tail. And he's going to get completely surrounded. There's a Soul Catcher. Are they going to disrupt? Yep, just catch up and surround them a little bit more. Anchor smash the follow. Right clicks are there. Should be a kill one way or another. Shadow Demon getting credit for the kill. It's actually Treant comes down as well. So pretty big commitment to kill that Razor. Of course, he is the second top farmer. I was going to say the top farmer, but of course it's Tiny. Treant actually picking up Arcane Boots. So that just shows the difference between the supports and like a Brewmaster who has absolutely nothing at this point. They're just going to group up and pressure this tower.
I love this item choice for Coast to get double arcanes. They're playing a lineup that excels in the mid game, where the problem is if they run out of mana and can't keep fighting. But they have so much sustain now. They have Shadow Demon with Disruption. They have more than enough mana to use Leech Seed more than once. They have Living Armor. Tide is innately tanky. Dragon Knight, same story. And this is what Coast are so damn good at. They take a kill and they take an objective. That rotation effectively defended a tower, bought them 2 Arcane Boots, got a kill, and took a tower in one move. And it took 1 minute. So this is about as effective as you can be in 9 minutes into the game.
In mid lane, some more pressure this time from Virtus.Pro up on the tier 1. Avalanche coming out just defensively though, trying to get out. Of course, Monomaniacs.
Coast?
Never memorized. I don't know why. Even seeing CSD just doesn't trigger it for me. But either way, they're playing more of the what do you call it? The death ball? Is that what it's called? Yeah, death ball lineup where you're just pushing down towers. They need the mech badly, and I'm wondering who's actually going to pick that. It's going to be the Doom. Might do more damage here.
I'll relocate.
Relocate along with Tiny, finally used, but nice Tidehunter Ravage onto 3 as Treant and among others from Coast on the run actually.
Ennis will die if this gets triggered, but it doesn't.
Wow.
He's not letting off the poison.
Everybody gets out? Are you serious? How is it even possible?
They could have got 1 kill there for Coast, but NS getting out alive. I think he had 10 HP and he had a Shadow Poison stack on him, so if that gets triggered there, that is a kill for Frigg Elite, but... Okay.
Big toss into the RP and Skewer as well. Not a whole lot of damage to speak of, but I believe they'll find... Oh, invisibility. Do they have any detection? Doesn't
no, they
look
don't.
Like it, so another thwarted kill.
I'm not sure how they were even
there.
expecting to pull off that kill then, without True Sight. Maybe they didn't see the invis, but
yeah, perhaps.
It was a 3-man gang onto Dragon Knight. You usually check his inventory before you go, but got away with it. Now he's invis, and God is actually staying really far in front. Maybe he's going to get initiated on now.
Dragon Tail, one of the best single target stuns in the game. Along with the TPs from Coast, this should be a kill one way or another. Nice defensive disruption, I should say. Keeping Dragon Knight alive, although more useful for the illusions now, I suppose, as they're going to continue pressure now into this tier 1.
And again, same story as bottom lane. Exactly the same scenario. God was pushing the mid tower, he was overextended. They kill him, they defend their tower, they push tower in one swipe. Very, very nicely done here. I don't know if they're going to bring down the tower this time though, but considering that RP is down, I think they might be able to at least force the glyph. Yeah, now they'll back off, but it's good enough. And Ape Mother hasn't even been involved in this game yet. He is just, you love that nickname.
So good.
He's just farming, and because of that, he's staying on par with the Tiny and net worth. He's actually 600 ahead now because of Devour and because they've taken a tower and everything. So once he gets involved in that mid game, what do you think about his build? I personally love Vlad's in general. I think it's an underrated item, but I don't know if it was the right choice here. It makes a lot of sense for their makes a lot of sense for their pushing lineup, that they want to take these mid-game team fights, which Vlad's is great for, and they obviously do have melee heroes to use the lifesteal on.
Yeah.
But perhaps there were better choices, like you say. A mech could have been nice, but then again, his mana pool isn't that big as anyone else. I guess maybe the Tide will get the mech, but the team should definitely have a mech. And this is also a good pipe game when you look at it, so perhaps he could have considered that one.
Well, I think for the Death Ball, it's pretty much a standard to get all these kind of aura type things. I am surprised that he went Vlad's first, but it looks like Drums will be the next. So I think mech is going to be picked up by somebody else. Maybe even the Dragon Knight or even Tidehunter.
Yeah, Dragon Knight could, but he's really...
Razor is about to finish his mech, and I know this sounds weird. I feel like they should free up some more space. Actually, we're going to have some damage here at top. Little engagement, but nothing really to talk about. I feel like the Brewmaster needs to get more levels now and farm, and I feel with the Razor getting the like, how much does Razor taper off in your opinion? Like, once you pick up the mech, after that, like, would you prioritize farm and levels on the Brewmaster, who's just
I feel like a big part of the purpose for a Razor pick has already been passed, in my opinion. I think you pick this hero to dominate a lane and shut down a hero, and they didn't manage to. So he's 0-2. Sure, he's got some decent farm for the mech, but the lineup he's going to be running into with the mech, he's still just going to flat out die. And it's good for them to be able to teamfight in the mid game. Plasma Field is a good ability, but since he didn't skill that, it's not so good. And the 4 points in Unstable Current. I'm not really sure about this build from Illidan, but he has a history of doing weird builds. The only player in the world to ever have played Dragon Knight without Free Fire.
Really?
He maxed Dragon Tail in stats.
Really? That's so...
And I believe he did win
Speaking
again.
of Dragon Tail is going to be used on the EO along with the Gush and the Ravage. Down goes Wisp. Don't believe they'll be able to find
Overgrowth! Oh.
Oh, Treant was there.
He was
but
dropping
not
the
quite in
base,
time.
but...
Well,
did not
speaking of
manage to
Overgrowth,
pull
that's why I feel like Panda's actually, or Brewmaster was a pretty good pick. He's good at like anti-team fight in a lot of ways, especially against like a lot of AOE. So that's why I'm questioning why he's not being prioritized with any farm or levels or anything.
Just a blink on him will make a huge difference.
Well,
right?
exactly. I mean, it's more so levels than anything, but the one blink obviously would be huge. Is it gonna group up towards his tier 1 mid, while tier 2 is gonna be pushed by Coast Gaming. So see if they can end up trading this. Although this tier 1's obviously taking a lot more damage. At least
Tied with
Blink
the Blink
Dagger
Dagger might
TP
try to
action.
go for something here. I'm not sure if he wants to.
Drums now complete on the Doom.
Doom is still top. Like, he hasn't left his
Yeah,
lane
he's just
14
farming away,
minutes.
man.
And he will get this tower as well.
So tier 1 mid taken out, along with the top one is we have EO and Tiny, along with Brewmaster, who's actually level 6. Avalanche to follow. Ape Mother just stuck against these trees. He phase boots out, but the Whirlwind is there.
He bought enough time. His team is coming in.
Oh boy, Dragon Knight is here. Oh, okay.
Brew's
now
dead.
Brewmaster's so dead. Level 7 Brewmaster with no ult. Goodbye, good sir. And that was unfortunate timing for him.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, rip. For sure. As they're just going to continue the pressure on the tier 2. So
I might sound like a broken record, but they just did the same thing again.
Yeah.
Kind of. Okay, they didn't defend a tower this time. They took a tower. They played the exact same bait where someone goes in and VP opens on them, and then they just outnumber. They're in the right place at the right time. Ape Mother bought plenty of time there, and they start pressuring a tower again. So really impressed by Coast. I knew they were a good team, and I knew going into this qualifier that they had a really good shot at getting far, but so far they're just making Virtus.Pro look like a significantly less good team than them right now.
Well,
they haven't even got a kill in a 16-minute game.
I wasn't 100% sure about them. I've had them like 4th or 5th. It was like in that range, like kind of iffy, I guess. And Virtus.Pro a little bit lower, maybe like 5th, 6th, 7th, something like that. But that's quite a range, actually. But either way, Virtus.Pro, I don't know. So far, this game haven't impressed, but of course, it's still early in the qualifiers. Both are 1-0 for those that are interested. Virtus.Pro.
Wow, really?
He went for Arcane Boots.
I do not
I mean, ever
agree with
since
this
they
at
changed the Blink Dagger, not have mana cost, I feel like Arcane Boots, if you're going to get them, you might get them later.
Sure,
I suppose,
if it's
but not
helpful
right
for
away.
his team, he can get these Arcane Boots, but I don't really think his allies need them anyway.
Well, they
So
have the
this
Blink
is
on
just
Magnus
delaying
now,
his
I
Blink.
suppose.
That's just not as a reliable engage initiation mechanism as Brewmaster's is, and the problem is, unless if that RP that Arzard pulls off with his Blink is really, really good.
Oh boy, where's that Ravage?
Yeah.
TP out from NS. Okay, well, they're going to find the Dragon Tail and Illidan along with the Soul Catcher. He's dead. And I guess that's a higher priority kill than
Still staying
Demonic
alive.
RGG. Of course, pretty low cooldown on that, so not a big deal, but obviously going to prioritize that over Brewmaster anyway. So Ravage was not used, so they're going to have that for this incoming push.
Good
This
decision
should
there
be
from Solon, I think. Even if they
Yeah.
would have got that extra kill, this means they get the tier 2 probably. Ape Mother is TPing, no one's stopping him. I think Virtus.Pro tried to trade for tier 1, but I don't even know if they can pull that off. There are 3 heroes down here. Coast will have more than enough time to take the Do they have Glyph? No, they don't, but Living Armor will delay the push a bit. Solon's actually left top
I
already.
really like
so
this team against Tiny and EO.
like very, very good.
Into the mid game, before you get the Ags, it's just a lot of burst magical damage. And when you have 4
Keep
strength
an eye out
heroes,
for
like,
bottom now.
very
This is going to be a
difficult.
huge initiation from Solon if he manages to pull it off.
Virtus.Pro's backing up though. They're just going to give it the tier 2 and not even take the tier 1. So
Yeah.
they're just waiting for that Ags pickup, I suppose. They're about 1,000 away from finishing that now in the Tiny.
He is going to be the game for Virtus.Pro if they turn this. It's going to be down to getting a great RP, and it's going to be down to God keeping on farming. They're actually only about 4,500 gold behind and 3,000 experience, and considering it's an 18-minute game where they're behind 7-0, I think that's okay for Virtus.Pro. The problem is I'm not seeing them taking any sort of... They're not doing anything successful around the map apart from farming. They've taken the mid-tier 1, sure, but they really got to pay a lot for it, and they're playing IO Tiny and have not got a kill in 18 minutes. Then you're just not playing your aggression. And and it's not like living armor hard counters.
Eight Mother getting surrounded by NS and Illidan, but of course it's a support Brewmaster, so he ults right away, gets the stun off. Static Link's doing quite a bit of work. They might have to back up with the TP support here from Coast Gaming. And Brewmaster ult wasted. Of course it was level 1, but...
And Illidan is skilling stats, oh, never mind. Okay, I thought he was getting stats over Plasma Field.
Oh, get wrecked. Whirlwind at the last second. That's awesome. Sorry, what were you saying?
I thought Illidan was going to get stats over Plasma Field, but he did get Plasma Field. I would have really disagreed
like against the
with that.
push, Plasma Field would be very useful. So
it is a powerful ability, and the cooldown on it isn't that long. You easily get that off twice per fight, and when the lineups are like this, I think I don't agree with his build of maxing on unstable current. I think they would have had a better chance at fighting with a high level Plasma Field, maybe 2 or 3 points in the link and 1 or 2 points in the current, because Plasma Field falls off a lot later on, and it's a really powerful ability around the 10 to 15 minute
unstable
mark.
currents. Okay, so I'm not going to disagree with you completely, but I will say against all these melee heroes that have single target abilities,
It is good.
It's
There's
still
no
good,
doubt about it.
but,
But I feel like it's a little bit overkill. Yeah, this tier 1 tower is going to fall as well. Coast being very methodical. See if they can hold their bottom tier 1 as well, or if Virtus.Pro will be getting that. There are the TPs, and
TP
Overgrowth
action.
is available.
Overgrowth coming. Oh, he's dropping the base, Gush going to be here. Wisp, perhaps going to try to relocate the Tiny. Yes, indeed, and...
Yeah, so
well,
I was going to die here.
They could kill the Wisp if they want to, if they even care about it.
Oh, they don't.
Okay, they're just gonna...
Okay, they're worried about them getting back here. I thought they could port in some reinforcements.
He has the Ags now, so they better be careful, I suppose. Is he gonna... No, he's just gonna push this tier 1 bot. And with the TPs down, he should be able to get it. Of course, mid, there might be some action, though. The Dragon Tail being used, it sounds like. Illidan taking a lot of damage, has the Doom applied to him. I believe that's the first Doom we've seen, if I'm not mistaken. I probably am mistaken, though.
He will
tier 1
not
dead.
live through this, I think. He's gonna die to the last tick. One more. There was another tick in that, but easy kill. They do lose the tier 1 though, so Virtus.Pro getting a little bit of a collateral here. Or I guess we can't call it a collateral because it was the only thing they got, but
consolation.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it. But yeah, with that relocate when they came back down there, I actually thought Coast might have wanted to try to rotate or TP from the mid lane and outnumber either the IO or the IO Tiny, but since VP could see that 3 of Coast's heroes were in mid, they were not afraid to pull back the Tiny there and just keep both of their heroes alive.
Man, Necronomicon level 1 on Doom. So they're just going so much push here. Is anybody building a mech? Let's click on everybody here. No.
Dragon Knight has the gold, but he'll be getting a BKB. Treant has the gold in 700 if he wants it. Tide is getting a refresher orb.
What? Refresher.
Refresher orb.
The net worth is just not that impressive for Coast, despite having all these towers.
It's the farm on Tiny.
I guess
60 CS ahead of yours. Keeping hope alive here is God, and the thing about this game is...
You can never count out a team with RP, though.
No.
Obviously.
In late game, their lineup, I think I would favor Virtus.Pro if this goes very late. Just Brewmaster and Magnus give so much control, and Tiny outcarries any hero on the dire side.
Well, especially considering the pickups for Coast. I mean, they're going all-out push, so this is quite a bit of big of an investment here.
I wonder when they want to try for Roche. We're going to have another tower trade here.
Oh, Blink now on Brew. We're seeing a TP. That might be Boots of Travel, actually.
He actually managed just to get a Blink now. I'm really surprised he got it
I'm shocked.
at this point. After he went for the Arcanes, NS has been getting some decent farm here. Steph style. Scouting them out. He might try to just break some TPs here.
Yeah, that would be good.
But
but they're not pushing any lanes right now, so this actually might be a setup for a team fight.
yeah, it is.
Drop at the base. Overgrowth. Incoming. Maybe Ravage. Okay, no, they're just going to kill it. Actually, they use Doom on the NS. Questionable at best, but they will get a kill nonetheless.
Questionable at best.
What?
I really didn't like that play.
Well, you don't need to doom him. What is he going to do? He's going to ult?
If something is questionable at best, then it's really bad.
Whatever.
Yeah, you're right. He could have chosen not to doom there. Sure, if Brewmaster got split off, they could have probably still chased him down. But made quick work of it. They can go back to farming.
BKB.
As I mentioned, when do Coast go for Roche? They are dire. They have tower advantage. They have the Necronomicon as well as Vlad's. They have everything it takes to go for Roche, and I don't think Virtus.Pro want to fight there unless they get the perfect RP.
Is that level 3 Necro on Doom? That's a yes from Mott, our cameraman. Thank you so much for not missing any kills. Now I say that you're going to miss some kills, but we still appreciate your camera work, good sir. Necro level 3 on Doom. Still no mech, which I am just shocked by.
Yeah, I don't know.
It has to be coming.
Tran has the gold for it in a moment. If he gets a Blink Dagger now, I don't think that's the right choice. That's not the right choice. They have enough setup, I think, with Tide with a Blink Dagger and a Dragon Knight to frontline, so...
Well, a blink overgrowth is never a bad thing, though. But I would agree that somebody needs to
I would have liked a mech for Coast in this game, but... Yeah, we'll see. Maybe someone else gets it now. And Doom has got a casual cloak. I wonder if he wants to turn that into a pipe.
Right.
But here's the Roche that I was hoping for from Coast, and looks like Virtus.Pro are not even going to check for it, which I'm a little bit surprised by, because they might have actually had a chance of fighting this with RP and with Brewmaster Split, but it's going to go to Coast. I like that they put it on Doom instead of Dragon Knight. Aegis on Transformation Heroes is very often kind of underwhelming, but Doom with 2 lives is pretty strong here. Where would you go if you're Ape Mother now? Do you think you should go for full aura mode with the pipe, or transition into, I don't want to call it the Lance build, but that's what we've seen in this qualifier so far, Ag's Refresher, and just try to lock down 2 of the core heroes on Virtus.Pro?
Yeah, I think Ag's Refresher is a good thing. I mean, and the problem is they don't have a mech, so they can't really push into the base yet, but they do have the Aegis, so maybe that's like a pseudo mech, I guess, of some sort.
That's an interesting way of looking at it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I don't know if that was a compliment,
Dire's
actually.
I don't know
But like I
either.
said, BKB now on DK, so expect them to take a fight here shortly. I don't know what... I mean, what are they waiting for, exactly? Because you're right, they could transition Doom into a more of a late game kind of... I wouldn't call him a carry, but I don't know what to call that, the Doom Ag's Refresher. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't know what to call that. It's not a carry. That's
Hardcore
something.
utility? I don't
Just
know.
beast mode enabled, something like that.
I know.
BKB, by the way, is being built by Tiny.
Full Satan build?
Full Satan build?
Go
Okay.
full Satan
Sure. I can deal with that.
with the refresher orb.
Whenever you talk about a Tiny having to go BKB, it's kind of looked down upon to some degree, because it's like...
It is the best choice here, though.
Well, obviously you need it this game, but I'm saying, like, after Ags, you want to go like Yasha or AC or something like that, but it's kind of like you have to get the BKB, then you can start getting your core items, if that makes sense.
When you're with an IO, I think
wow.
the situation is a little different. That's when
I see it,
BKB
Ma,
makes a
thank
lot
you.
more sense. Because when IO can overcharge you, generally the problem, if Tiny does not have IO with him and he goes BKB, his attack speed is just so underwhelming that you can't really team fight. But with IO, the BKB build is a lot better because the attack speed he's missing right now. JOTM with a level 4 overcharge is going to give him more than enough. God, it will be kind of hard to kill in these fights. However, he's fighting against Demonic Purge, and that is just so damn good against Tiny.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Trying
Overgrowth.
to trade some tier 2s here, so we're going to have a Blink by Solon. Of course, EO is there to relocate if he needs to. Not sure if he's in range, actually. We're going to have more pressure here. Apparently, EO just TP'd, so he's not going to be here for God. He's going to attempt to run away. He's getting completely surrounded. There's the Overgrowth. He could pop his BKB and TP, and he does just that. This craggy exterior, he's beating the absolute crap out of these melee heroes. But the BKB pickup by Tiny is definitely... not only was it needed, but this is a really good time because, as Mott was pointing out vigorously, or emphatically, Tidehunter will be getting his refresher very shortly. Okay, he's getting it right now.
How much mana does that cost? It costs 825 to cast Ravage, Refresher, Ravage right now.
You gotta you gotta...
But he can Arcane Boot twice and has a
Exactly.
wand. So it is possible. Let's see how much mana. 809, so yeah, almost. But then again, if you want to gush and Anchor Smash as well, he needs to be a little bit careful. At the end of the day, getting 2 Ravages off is just so much more important than that little extra spell he can cast. So
Right.
needs to use his, keep track of his mana economy, but since there's absolutely no mana drain on the Radiant, it's pretty easy.
Illidan. There's the Gush, there's the Doom, right clicks, level death as well. Brewmaster's here with his Blink if he wants to try to slow them down a bit. He's actually just going to Drunken Haze the Ape Mother, so the right clicks will be missing quite a bit. There's the Thunderclap, very nicely done. Illidan getting really low.
He'll live.
He
Last
will live.
chick. Ah.
Last chick.
I needed 2 more ticks to take him down there, so good good response from Innis. If he doesn't Blink Clap there, the Tide will Blink Anchor Smash.
Virtus.Pro still doesn't have a kill, by the way. They still don't have a kill, but they're going to get this tier 2 tower going the way of Tiny himself. And fortifications popped by Virtus.Pro. And
Really
Coast
good
will
positioning
continue the
from
pressure
Coast here. Notice how they're like placing their supports in an arc outside and the 2 tanky cores in the middle. So they can just keep pushing this tower, and if there's any sort of initiation coming out of VP, they can just turn it around. Here we go.
Oh, Tiny trying to kill. Whoop, actually, we're going to see mid. RP, Demonic Purge, though, to slow the BKB'd AA on Mag. He's going to go down there. We see nice whirlwind by the Panda Brewmaster. Ape Mother might be going down, but of course he has the the Aegis, I should say. He's going to eat a creep in the midst of all this. As NS is taking a lot of damage. Soulcatcher applied to him right now. Right clicks to follow. Dragon Knight's just right clicking to his heart's content. And Tiny and EO are stuck in the back end. They're not even there right now. They buy back.
Yeah, did Tiny buy back as well?
I guess they died in bottom lane.
So what happened, I caught a little bit of it. Tiny and Io were trying to split push here, so they always wait and see. There's a fight still going on here, so
there's the Ravage on 3. EO's going to get cleaned up. God as well, in all likelihood. If he goes down, his buyback is down. And they can just take me. He pops his BKB, and the right click should be there. Oh, one more right click. Can you catch up? There's the blink. There's the anchor smash. Tidehunter getting credit for the kill. They should be able to get racks off of this. Still 0 kills. How is that possible? I thought somebody died for Coast.
0 kills, the dream. The Coast are going down mid lane.
How are they still?
So what happened in the bottom lane was Tiny and Io were trying to get a little bit of split push going, but Coast, again with the superior rotations, they killed the Io with Tide. So they couldn't bring home the Tiny. He knew that if he tried to TP, he would just get cancelled. Maybe
How
he
did
didn't
Tiny
have one.
die then?
So he kept trying to push here, and then he got overwhelmed by 2 heroes, I believe, while Coast were also pushing mid. They're just... This team is just outplaying Virtus.Pro in every single aspect of the game, apart from Tiny's farm. When you're playing, how can you not have a kill with this lineup? It's
how
beyond
can
me.
a team almost get a rack? I don't care if it's a range rack. How can they almost get a rack with 0 kills, 30 minutes in the game? Has that ever happened?
Tiny Io.
I kind of want to see him just to get the racks, and I wish that was a compendium. I wish that stat was in the actual compendium.
There wasn't a compendium guess with least kills from one team in a game, right? Because then I would have probably, I don't know.
I don't know.
I would have probably been wrong. I wouldn't have guessed 0.
I don't remember that. Yeah, I don't remember that. No, they have to get a kill. Because Coast is going to get greedy in the fountain, like diving them or something like that.
Statistically, based on the last 30 minutes, they will not get a kill.
Is there a mech yet? Does it even matter anymore?
Yep, Tide got it.
Oh,
he just wanted his casual blink refresher first, and then he goes for the mech. Just showing it off. So he can, of course, use the mech twice with the refresher, but that's absolutely useless, so it's not really got that good synergy.
Okay, how much mana does he use now? I mean, obviously he uses the mech once, so that's 75 mana, I believe.
150?
So how much mana... I was thinking he definitely would go Shiva's next, but he went mech.
When he hits 16, he's going to need... If he levels up his Ravage, which I guess you do, right?
The case, yeah.
Then he needs 2 times 350, which is... sorry, 325. That's 650, plus refresher, which is 375, so that's 1,025, and mech used once... 1,175. So he's 200 mana short right now. If he wants to use 2 Ravages, mech once, and not even use Gush Anchor Smash.
Right.
So
pretty hardcore, I have to say. Brewmaster being chased.
What do you think about the Basher on Doom?
Nothing. What?
What do you think about the Basher on
It
Doom?
doesn't matter. He could go. He can go.
So why did he get it then?
He could go casual branch. That would have been a fine item.
Casual
as well.
branch.
Yes, just a casual branch into nothing.
It does give more agility and intelligence than the Basher does. So I guess that's something to keep in mind. He wants, I guess it just wants Abyssal against the Tiny.
Well, yeah, it's definitely going to be Abyssal.
But the question is if that was the right call for him here, or if he should have, again, gone for more auras or for an Ag Scepter and just tried to lock down a target. Because another thing about Ags is it deals more damage, first of all, but the way it keeps refreshing when you're in close, 900 proximity to the target.
Barsar,
yeah,
he's good.
The way these team fights are going to take place, Ape Mother, if he dooms someone and just keeps running around, he will stay in that AoE for the entire fight. 900 AoE. If he dooms the Tiny, Tiny will be under the effect of Doom the whole time.
Well, he did build Beast Mode, so it would make sense to pick that up, I suppose. But going for the more flashy Basher, I guess you could say, is bottom lane getting pushed a bit here from Tiny EO. They're going to get cut off by this Doom. That's going to go in. Here's the Gush. Oh, Anchor Smash as well. Doom applied. God's trying to run away, but there's the EO. Oh, the Ravage is going to miss. They should be able to get Wisp on the way back, though. As they're actually...
What's that split? Oh, RP?
RP on 1. Actually 2. The Knife Force Staff out from...
They're getting a kill!
Trient's going to get... Trient will forever be known as the only kill going the way of Virtus.Pro in this match. Is Dragon Knight will TP out. Apparently Doom did get the EO. Oh, that's right. He got
kind of came back and died.
So 17-1 advantage for Coast. And this game's not over yet.
It is only Tiny keeping them in this game right now.
I mean,
with his
yeah,
300
this is the
CS.
problem. Like, even if you're up this much, there's always the RP, and there's always Tiny pushing.
If Virtus.Pro come back from this, this will remind me of the game from TI4. What was it? Orange against eHome, where Orange built the sickest advantage in the early game. They were ahead by like 20,000 golden experience, and then they lost to Tiny IO late game. They had a Morphling in that game, by the way, orange. So it was orange, right? So,
I'll just assume you're correct here.
but that's a pretty memorable game from TI2 anyway. We'll see if this can be the second edition of that game. I doubt it.
So they're Virtus.Pro averaging a whopping 1 kill per 33 minutes, 27, 28, 29, 30 seconds. Impressive.
So
Well, I think the problem here
the long Chinese games with a lot of farm still got more kills than VP did so far.
that is impressive. I won't lie. That is definitely. I would not have guessed that. I mean, Virtus.Pro. It's not like they're trashy players at all. I mean, like I said, I thought they could still be in the running for a top 4 spot in the qualifiers, but right now just not showing much. Banking all their late game on God on this Tiny. And we haven't really seen any major RPs. Of course, a lot of that has to do with the great spacing from Coast.
They have never given them the team fight. That's what's really impressive about their play, is that they've always made the right decisions about how to spread out and deal with multiple objectives at once. That's something a lot of really experienced teams actually often fail to do.
Well, Brewmaster's out of this fight for quite a while. They're going to pop Fortification, though.
Yeah, good Doom usage as well.
RP
I think
is
that's
up.
worth it.
Is under attack.
It's going to secure the tower.
Right. And melee racks.
And again,
to
look
go
at the
down.
positioning, exactly the same as in the mid. They're standing in an arc with the 3 supports.
There's the RP. It's going to be on one, but a nice disruption after the fact. Overgrowth is here. It's not going to do a whole lot. Dragon Knight can be right-clicking to his heart content, along with Illidan taking out by 8-Mother. 8-Mother just right-clicking him is so much damage. Gods is there with his Aghanim Scepter getting stunned. But of course, melee Rex is down, so Coast could back up here if they wanted. But there's the Ravage. Has he refreshed? Not sure. Trian very low. It's going to be the second. 2 deaths for Trian. He is feeding for Coast Gaming. Good Lord Almighty. 19-2 advantage for Coast, as they're just going to take this game. There's the Ravage. NS gets destroyed. Arsart to follow. Wisp blows up. The buybacks are here, but what is that going to do exactly? 22-2. Give it up. There's the
They want the 3-2-2, but
mech.
they have to get a kill for that. Where do you get the kill for the 3-2-2 dream? We saw it in the final, in the 3rd game of the Chinese qualifier grand finals.
Radiant's middle barracks.
Yeah, maybe the fountain.
Coast sacrifice a hero to the solo gods.
It's going to be Fountain MVP for Virtus.Pro in this game, as this is going to be the last tier 3 taken out, I would think, at least. Oh, Drunken Haze is going to prevent a little bit of damage coming out from Dragon Knight, though. So you got to keep that in mind, of course. Tier 3's down. They're banking everything on this buy, or not the buyback, but the cooldowns here for Tiny, and Wisps in 3
I'm really
seconds.
surprised they backed out.
Yeah, Kellis is playing it very, very safe. Surprisingly so.
I don't really want to say, yeah, maybe this one play, but overall in this game they've been playing really controlled aggression. They've been looking for way more objectives than they've been splitting better. They've been executing better. I can barely put a finger on any play Coast has made in this game. I don't know if it's Virtus.Pro that's making it look easy, but I'm just really, really impressed by, above all else, let's say they've got a good draft, they know how to play their draft. The most impressive thing is how they move their heroes on the map. They always outnumber their opponents or get an even fight where they are superior. Every single time.
Of course.
And they haven't really sacrificed it.
Keep in mind that this is only one game, and teams can have bad games and they can have good games. And we've talked about in past qualifiers where we thought we were really impressed with Myth Trust, for example, in the couple games that we casted them, and then they just tapered off big time throughout the rest of the tournament. So it's a very small scope in the grand scheme of things for all these games that we've played. Roshan taken out. Aegis can be picked up by Doom. That's only the 2nd Rosh, which is the most. That's shocking at this point.
I think Coast could have. That's perhaps the thing we could criticize a little bit. They could have got Roche earlier, I guess, and taken a little more advantage of that. But again, in the grand scheme of things, that is not really too big
Mjolnir on a
of
creep. I love this. Next level strats pushing with that Mjolnir and the tree armor. That's awesome. As NS is going to take it out. It's going to feel so good taking out that creep. That's the best CS he's ever had in his life. There's the Force Staff by Tree and Protector. Refresher up in 6 seconds for Tide, and that should, I would think, be the beginnings here of the final push of the game. Of course, Solon might just want that Mystic Staff so he can actually get off these spells in a timely manner and not have to... Oh, Blink, Gush, AA. Oh, he's going to skewer out, but there's Tree. Everywhere you go, he's going to blink out, actually. Very slow attack animation from Tree, the feeder of Coast Gaming, with those 2 miserable, miserable deaths.
keeping the possibility of 3-2-2 alive there. Arsart, really close call getting out of there. I'm still wondering how Coast ends this game without getting a kill and dying with one hero. But it is possible. So, I'm not sure why they're not just going top lane right now, to be honest. They have the Aegis on Doom, they have everything they need. Double Ravage is available. He actually even had 5k gold. What's he buying? He is buying a full Shiva's Guard. There's 2 of those as well. I think Solon could, if not for Tiny, he could probably win a 1 versus 3 right now against the Radiant lineup, I think. By just using his abilities correctly, but he is very, very strong on that Tide. It's pretty.
DK popped his ult.
Impressive.
What's that all about?
Pushing.
Oh, that was to try to catch out Magnus.
Yeah.
That's right. So they're not going to have that ult.
Maybe that's what they're waiting. I don't think they're going to wait though.
Another 50 seconds on that cooldown.
It's go time.
I believe Tide is picking up something. Tiny does have his AC right now. Tide did get Shivas, so he finally has mana to do stuff, I suppose. Not that is really. I mean, his double ults haven't really meant a whole lot, to be perfectly honest. They're just so overfarmed right now. As the tier 4 pushes. What?
They're going for the GG. Maybe they don't get a fight.
And S is going to blink in and pop his ult right away. He's going to stun 8 Mother, who has the Aegis. Probably not the best target. Nice whirlwind on the Necronomicon. BKB on Dragon Knight. Illidan getting destroyed. He gets Abyssal Blade. 8 Mother getting really low. Doom finally going to get off on God. He's just right-clicking. Doom goes down. Aegis will pop right back up as Illidan's here, going down to the Ravage.
They got a kill.
Shiva's to follow. 2-24. A big skewer, actually, for Arsart. You don't want to be in this sandwich, good sir. Is he going to get destroyed by this Ravage, among other things? Buyback surprisingly there for VP, as they are just struggling to find this kill. Nice kiting here from Coast. 8 Mother getting low. There's a Brewmaster. They're getting Treant. Big feeder, 0-3. 26-5 right now for Coast. As this is almost a team wipe going the way of Virtus.Pro.
How many buybacks was that?
Like 2 or 3.
2. Only 2?
Are they going to get a full team wipe? Do it. Do it, right click. You got it. Got it. Oh, it's a team wipe. Congratulations. So they got 7 kills.
TI2 comeback still a possibility.
Well, we joke, of course, anything's possible with the lineup that they have. I mean, that's the beauty of it, or the curse, depending on how you look at it. As we're looking at the team fight recap, a big network chain experience.
They gained. So they team wiped Coast, and they gained. How much is that? 3,500 gold advantage and 3,000 experience, and they used 2 buybacks for that. So, of course, the buybacks are taken into account for that. So it is a net
Roshan
gain.
was there, or the Aegis was there as well. So they technically got 6 kills, kind of. But alas, this is
if Coast do this again, it's over. It's only because of the buybacks there that Virtus.Pro stand a chance at defending. And the other thing Coast could do is to, instead of going mid for the tier 4s, they could have just gone top. Like
they would have had
played safe, get the mega creeps there. I don't think Virtus.Pro would have had enough time to fight into them and prevent it from happening, but they're holding on for now. And maybe a little sign of weakness here from Coast. Considering how well they've played in the rest of the game, they should have won by now. So maybe a little nerves here and want to play it a little bit too safe, and then when they committed...
You think they're waiting for the next Roche?
Not perfect execution. I doubt it. I still think they could go now. But perhaps... So that's the problem here. If they start getting cold feet and getting a little bit worried, then maybe Virtus.Pro will be gaining more out of it. If they contest the Roche and win the fight there, all of a sudden Coast could be losing a lane at Barracks as well.
Well, that's the scary part. Being in Roche pit with a Magnus on the other team is always
and a Brew.
Something to fear. Well,
2 really good heroes there.
I mean, Brew's ults, it tapers off pretty big time. And the fact that it's only level 2, 42 minutes in the game, it's okay, but it's leaves a lot to be desired, I suppose. But yeah, Roche isn't going to be up for quite a while, so I would hope to God that they push this. Of course, they're going to continue down mid. I do agree with you that top lane would be a hell of a lot easier. You're going to see little alt-tabbing action here. Freaking Mott, man, I swear. Music?
Top lane. So this time they're making the right call. They'll be going for the megas.
There we go.
Virtus.Pro will have to have... They need one of those amazing RPs again, but the positioning here, see if it happens.
No Thunderclap, but he's going to get... Oh, the big RP on 2, actually. Dragon Knight, but nice disruption. 8 Mother getting really low, even though he has BKB on God, trying to right-click. Nice 4 staffs overall for Coast Gaming. They're trying to kite them very much. So there's a beautiful Ravage. Wisp getting very low. He's going to go down the right clicks, I do believe, as E-Skill is going to get stunned from Brewmaster's ult. Stolen. Oh, another Ravage. That should do it. Tiny's dead. No buyback for you, good sir. Illidan going down very shortly after, and, well, Virtus.Pro held on for quite a while, Cinderin. So you got to give them credit where credit's due. Actually, Wisp takes back a dead body to base. That's truly unfortunate, but
he gets a proper burial in Radiant Fountain.
Dragon Knight forced the buyback for Coast, but not sure
he
if that's
falls
needed.
Magnus out again.
What's that?
Oh, he took the Magnus with him outside the base on the way back from relocate. I'm not sure Arsart actually wanted that.
Well, Doom and company are just going to take out these racks. GG's coming out for Virtus.Pro. They held on as long as they could. Probably longer than they should have, but Coast, pretty impressive. I mean, I do agree with you that probably 30 minutes in, they started playing a little bit more sloppy. They could have finished it quite a bit earlier, but being very conservative, you can't really blame them considering the stakes here.
And I also wouldn't say they were conservative. I think it was pretty solid play. Maybe a little hesitation once or twice, but overall, what I really like seeing from this team, as I said a couple of times, their movement around the map, their decision making, and the way they take collaterals. That is what strong teams with confidence do, is that they don't just get a kill and go back to farming. They see more and more and more and more in the map, and they don't overgreed it. They take exactly what they can get away with, and then they back off. And their first 30 minutes were pretty much perfect.
Yeah,
to be honest.
We've talked about this game way too much, so let's talk about the next game. It's actually going to be Coast Gaming again, aka Monomaniacs, but this time it will be versus Team Dog, aka Mouse Sports. So a lot of AKAs.
That could be interesting.
That's going to be a good game, I think.
The way Coast are playing right now, and what I saw from Mouse in their first game against, what was that, against Hehe United, where Mouse Sports actually almost were
lost.
in a position to lose that game. Yeah. If Coast play like this, and Mouse are not on their A game, I think they're in for a really big challenge. And I think they might be in for a challenge no matter what, actually.
Right. Yeah,
Coast
I
were
do agree.
really impressive here, so looking forward to this game.
So that will be coming up next. Good sirs and madams. And then actually we're going to be here for 3 games straight, so we're in here for the long haul. We have Virtus.Pro going down to Coast Gaming. Is it Coast Gaming or just Coast?
Team Coast Gaming.
God damn it. Okay, we'll be back, guys, right after this with the next game.